But the president himself knows that Nigerians are suffering. The president knows that Nigerians are hungry. The president knows. He's a street person. He knows the street very well.
This channel not only feed your eyes with good movies, we also bring you the hottest and the newest trends around the globe. My darlings, sit tight and enjoy this one.
Joining us now is Ojinika Ojiyope with stories trending around the world. Hello, Janet.
It's better on
Thank
Friday.
God it's Friday.
My favorite day of the week, as always. You look lovely in yellow. My Ayomi day. How are you this morning?
I'm doing good.
Rufy on fire. How are you this morning?
Ojinika, Janet, pepper them.
As always. Well, all right. Well, let's begin what's trending by paying tribute to Liam Payne, one of the 5 members of the famous music band One Direction, who died from multiple injuries and hemorrhages after falling over the 3rd floor of the balcony of his hotel in Argentina on Wednesday, October 16th. He was 31 years old. The surviving group members of One Direction on Thursday night released a joint statement on Instagram revealing that they are completely devastated following his death. Well, here is a solo rendition of Night Changes by Liam Payne. Oh, this is such a sad story, guys. It just reminds us to be kind to people. You never know your last moment. Live every day as if it were your last. I mean, he became famous and an X Factor, really.
Edition,
and, you know, the group say they're completely devastated. Of course, he was only 31 years old. May his soul rest in peace. Well, let's take the story in Nigeria. On Thursday, the federal government commenced the distribution of free compressed natural gas tricycles to cooperatives across the country. The Presidential Natural Gas Initiative, in collaboration with the Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment, flagged off the exercise in Ogun State. The Minister of Labor and Employment, Nkiruka Onyejocha, said the program was a transformative approach to empowering communities, fostering economic resilience, and promoting sustainability across the country. Rufai, Dr. Vati, this began in your state. I don't know why they chose your state. They did not choose your state. Our Lagos, we were hailing you guys yesterday. But it started in your state, and I think it's a great initiative. Nkiru Onyejocha said that, you know, it is for, you know, the cooperatives, and that the money will be shared amongst the members. I mean, they've donated it for free. While I think it's a great initiative, a lot of people have also talked about the issues of CNG. Meanwhile, a car powered by compressed natural gas exploded at the filling station in Edo State on Thursday. Eyewitnesses in the area said no fewer than 3 persons were rushed to the hospital in the aftermath of the explosion.
God of mercy. Jehovah. Brother, the thing do you like this? Why you not follow that motor? Why carry that man just now? Why they carry go hospital? You don't carry that command. Why they say they take out the leg? I bet quick for you see him your belly. Quick for you take treatment. For you may go take treatment. May they help this man now. May they help this man. May they help this man.
All right, Rufai, the floor is yours. Justice for Rufai. But I know that you are a great advocate for CNG. What do you think happened here?
I even drive a CNG car.
Yeah, that's right.
So from investigation, it was not the correct cylinder. It was something that was just coupled together for them. And that's why, please, only go to the authorized registered outlet for CNG conversion. And like I was saying before we came on air, we know things like this was going to happen. Because in the race to be able to get your CNG and all of that, you can just call one person to help you fabricate one. It doesn't make it the correct. Because the original CNG something is a bulletproof compartment. And it can withstand a lot of pressure as regards gas. So please, let us just get it right and all of that. And this should not stop the presidential CNG initiatives. In fact, we should also explore other sources apart from CNG. I've always been talking about an energy mix. Let's explore electric. I'm happy about Innoson having an electric car. I think Nord too has the capacity for that, and a couple of other car makers. Let's also look for, you know, other sources. Let's support. The other day you brought a story of a guy doing geothermal battery. Let's also generator. Let's also support. If we have an energy mix that you know that comparatively we can switch to this and that, it will help a great deal.
Fantastic. Well, all right. Well, in another development, customers of Guarantee Trust Bank over the course of the week complained about their inability to access banking services due to ongoing downtime, despite the bank's claim of completing the transition to a new core banking application. Some customers complained that they are unable to access their funds or make transfers. Some accounts showed zero balance despite having funds in their account. Well, on Wednesday, in a statement posted on X, GTB informed its customers that its digital banking channels are now online and thanked its customers for their understanding and support. But obviously, this is still not the case. I mean, some of those images I have there are some of our staff here in Arise News showing zero naira in their account. I mean, let me just take a quick comment from a user on social media. They wrote, GT Bank has held me hostage this week with my funds. No resolution, no light since Monday because National Grid and this stupid feeder that spoiled. Full stations are not selling fuel in kegs, no water because you can't pump. Basic necessity has become a myth because I am Nigerian, the failure of the system. But I know that, GT Bank has tried to, communicate with their customers. But it is so frustrating. Like that Twitter user alluded to the fact that not at this time, you can't transfer your money. I'm sure some people haven't even received their salaries. Ayo.
All right, let me not tell, but yes.
Yeah, but it's the truth.
It's the
It's
truth.
the truth.
It's the truth.
No.
It is the truth.
Yeah.
And there's so many backlashes from this. Number one is we're trying to promote financial inclusion and encourage more people who are unbanked to trust the financial system and put their money in banks and trust technology. Unfortunately, this gives bad press to that and it discourages people from trusting institutions. I mean, if a tier 1 bank has such a big challenge like this where people cannot access their own money, don't joke with the Nigerians' money, and then a lot of people didn't have access to their salary. If it was your salary account, you were in big trouble. It's the middle of the month. People started giving excuses or saying stories that sounded far-fetched.
Cite one example.
Of what?
Provide evidence.
Don't you already give all the evidence on air? Well, what I'm saying is that
But can you imagine waking up to a zero balance in your account?
That's what I'm saying. That some people that stay running mad.
Come on.
Especially because of the cyber crime, fraud that people have talked about. So it would have caused a lot of panic.
Yes.
In fairness to the institution, they gave a note out saying that they were going to upgrade their system and that by 12 noon, I believe on Monday or the next day, everything was begin to work. So people were a bit patient. They almost put me in trouble. I'd gone to the store, picked up everything and forgotten. I was about to pay and then they said, oh, sorry, this bank is actually not working. I was like, not again. So I had to start looking for. So one thing it taught Nigerians that have more than one bank account. And that doesn't make sense. It's like having more than one SIM card because you know that it can mess you up at any time, especially a critical time. Infrastructure, what we keep talking about in Nigeria, that when are we going to get it right? They're saying it could happen to anyone. It happened, the technical glitch happened to another tier 1 bank only about 2 weeks ago. And so it's been frustrating banking in Nigeria. And so sometimes, what I would ask is that the CBN should institute an investigation.
That's the point.
If it is as a result of incompetence or some failure somewhere, then there should be sanctions.
Right.
But if it's something that they couldn't help, but it took too long for them to rectify, not with people's money, not when people's money is held in trust and you were holding a lot of people to ransom.
Yes.
Imagine if that's your sole bank account. You are in big trouble.
Or that's the account that you have all your funds in.
Yes.
What are you going to do?
That's your primary account. It was really terrible.
Whatever
terrible.
They need to do, whether they need to hire mercenaries. Right now, it's like, whoa.
Do you know what they're saying
fix
as well?
This situation
That's some of the
at this
IT
point.
people.
Yes.
Many of them are jackpot.
That's what
That's some of our best brains who work in the IT department.
No.
So we have a problem there. It's not just in the healthcare system, but even in our brain, our best brains traveling abroad, and so they have a problem in that system. But don't joke with people's money.
Absolutely.
Nigerians are already going through a lot.
Too much. Well, all right. This is for GT Bank. Well, in another development, Senator representing Abia North, Orji Kalu, has said that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu knows that Nigerians are experiencing economic hardship. Kalu made the comments during a live television interview on Thursday. He said that Tinubu moves around Abuja with 1 or 2 cars some nights to feel the pulse of the people. The senator also disclosed that he earns 14 million naira as his monthly salary, which he claims is not even enough. Let's take a listen.
But the president himself knows that Nigerians are suffering. The president knows that Nigerians are hungry. The president knows he's a street person. He knows the street very well. The president some nights uses car or per month. In a month. But everything compulsory.
In your salary?
My salary, the overhead, the worker salary, everybody. So
you don't think that is enormous?
No, it's not.
Head. You're not the only one.
No. Let me be honest with you. Mm-hmm. Do you know this money I have to buy fuel, I have to travel to my constituency, I have to maintain constituency office, I have to sit in the constituency. It's not enough.
And Dr. Abati, everything compassing is not enough. I mean, what are we not going to hear in Nigeria? Well, let me take this reaction before I come to you, Dr. Abati. This is from Ennis, who wrote, "You are earning 14 million naira monthly for doing nothing. Come on, Nigerians, it is high time Nigerian people wake up to correct this injustice in the society. 14 million naira divided by 160 people or workers by Nigerian minimum wage is 87,500 naira. I know feet shout." Dr. Abati,
well, you see, these your lawmakers, they are very interesting people. And someone like Senator Juzo Kalu, he's been governor twice. He's now a senator. I mean, he will qualify as a statesman, and he's a grandfather. He's been around. And then he would go on television to tell Nigerians that 14 million naira is not enough for him in a month, that in fact he uses it to buy fuel to go to his constituency.
Yes.
And everything encompassing, everything, 14 million naira. In a country where some people have just spoken that some people have not received their salaries because some banks are not functioning. How does he want people like that here and listening to him to feel?
I don't know.
You're watching Nolly Magic TV. My joy is to keep you updated with the latest gist. And your joy should be subscribing to this channel and giving this video a thumbs up, please.
Then, this 14 million naira, okay, is from Igberi in Abia North, that's his constituency in Abia State. Yes. So even if he spends 1 million naira to go from Abuja to Igberi, he cannot spend up to 14 million naira. So I think this is the point that Nigerians make about these senators. That look, they are overpaid and underworked. Mm-hmm. Many of them are guilty of absenteeism. Many of them go there to just snore and sleep during proceedings. When they don't show up, they say they are doing committee work. Well, that's why Nigerians are saying we should have a unicameral legislature.
Yes.
And the work of the members of this unicameral legislature should be part-time work.
Yeah.
All the people in the National Assembly who are doing nothing, who have nothing to do, they are collecting 14 million and they have the effrontery to come and tell us that it is not enough. So how much does Senator Jikalu wants to earn? How much will be enough for him? Perhaps 150 million naira per month. That's very ridiculous.
Right.
Number two, he made the point that it's committees that are given vehicles, not members of, of the National Assembly. Okay, what I know is that there's no member of that National Assembly that doesn't belong to one committee or the other. Except Senator Jikalu is telling us that the committees of the National Assembly, the people who are using those cars are goats. Mm-hmm. And then we will ask the question that, okay, how does he reconcile that with other, senators who have told us before that they use the 65 million naira SUVs that they've been given for constituency work. And Nigerians are saying, no, you can't be riding expensive imported vehicles. Go and ride innocent. Go and ride other locally assembled cars. Just make sure you don't get CNG that is put together by welders so that you can be safe. Number three, I think he went overboard when he was saying President Tinubu is from the street. He knows the street. He knows what Nigerians are suffering, and he will deal with it. That he goes out in the evening.
And with one or two cars.
That's a security breach. I don't think it's a good thing to be announcing that sometimes in the evening President Tinubu goes around, Abuja. In a country where there are kidnappers.
He said it doesn't matter.
No, we don't want our president to be kidnapped. Because people are angry, that they are hungry. If he goes about driving around, well, I don't know.
All right.
Well, but Senator Kalu says he knows the street.
He knows the street. Our president knows the street. He wants to feel the pulse of the people. Well, I mean, something's got to give. One thing I took away from what you said, Dr. Bat, is about our governance system in Nigeria. Well, in Kenya, the Senate on Thursday voted to impeach the country's deputy president, Rigathi Gachagua. Despite a plea from his lawyers to postpone the proceedings, the lawyer said the deputy president was hospitalized after falling sick hours before the vote was set to hold.
The sad reality is that the deputy president of the Republic of Kenya has been taken sick, very sick, and as I address Mr. Speaker in this honorable House, Senators, he is in hospital, Mheshimiwa Speaker. That is a sad reality.
All right, Rufai, the deputy president there in Kenya was charged with multiple charges of corruption, but it's basically, people are saying it's really not about that. It's about the infighting within the president and...
Audrey, you're spot on. So these two people came together, they coalesced to be able to get power.
Yeah.
Gachagua went against him when those protests were rife in Kenya. In fact, a lot of criticism, a lot of people said, you're playing with fire. This is your government. You are going against your government in a bit of siding with the people.
Yes.
And that went south. The moment Ruto was able to consolidate power, the next thing he did is he went for him. He went to the hospital, said his chest was paining him and all of that in the hospital. But the chest pain couldn't stop the impeachment. He still had to go. But my fear in Kenya is this consolidation of Ruto. Hope he will not build another hegemon. Because now, Ruto will be able to reign supreme. The question is, will Gachagua now go back to his political base and get ready for the next election? I don't think he's going to get any mileage because Ruto is the incumbent president and he's going to consolidate on the power. Because Gachagua brought a lot to the ticket in the last elections. Will he now able to go to the opposition and do a deal? As far as we speak today, there's no opposition in Kenya. You know why? Because Ruto has, let me use one worry term, columbied the neck of Baba, what's his name now? Odinga. In fact, they are trying to see how they can put Odinga on an African Union chairmanship stage. So you can see now that that's how opposition is taking away on the African continent. And Ruto will reign supreme. And Kenya is having a lot of problems. Like India are trying to dominate Kenya with Adani Group.
Yeah, so what do you think about the whole process, though, in terms of the impeachment and all of that, Dr. Bati, really quickly?
Well, I said it, I think, earlier on. The process that you follow in Kenya, last week, the lower parliament voted to impeach. But that then set the stage for the upper parliament, the Senate. We took the decision, 2/3 of the 67 members of the Senate voted to impeach. While he was at, I think, the Kane Hospital, his lawyers also walked out of proceedings in the Senate. Now, 2 governors of the counties are being considered to succeed Rigiji, as he's also known, and 2 ministers, Interior Minister and the Foreign Affairs Minister. So this may not be the end of conflict in Kenya, but clearly the 2-year pact between Rigiji and Ruto has come to an end.
All right.
And, President Ruto is effectively in charge. But there are other issues that will have to be solved. Debt, the economy. These are bigger things that should be of interest to the people of Kenya rather than the infighting among the political elites.
I mean, besides that, I think for me, it really is about just the processes that, govern their country in terms of the impeachment or even the replacement of the cabinet. I feel like, Kenyans are way ahead of their governance system, which I must commend as well. Well, let's take a story under entertainment. Musician Speed Darlington was arrested on October 4th after a complaint was filed by Grammy Award-winning musician Burna Boy, alleging defamation and cyber-stalking, has claimed that the police did him dirty while he was in detention and seized his phone. The musician emphasized that he holds no grudge against Burna Boy, but questioned why a mature person will be angered by insults. The singer also admitted ignorance of cybercrime laws, expressing surprise at their existence. Ayo, this man really, I mean, I laughed so hard when I read that you did me dirty. But where is his phone? His phone is still with the police. Why are they holding his phone? Is because he doesn't know how to use it or what? but it's still on defamation and all of that. Meanwhile, popular cross-dresser Bob Risky has again denied making defamatory statements against senior advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, and his son Falz, following a demand of a public apology and retraction of the alleged defamation statements filed by the duo. While reacting via Instagram, the cross-dresser argued that only very dark man should be held responsible for publishing defamatory content. He also claimed that his fundamental right to communication is not being respected and stated that his legal representative is working on a detailed explanation. We discussed this yesterday. I wanted to make sure that we conclude this conversation because like we talked about yesterday, the voice recording, he's still denying that voice recording, those two stories.
All right, so he is. Yeah. So he's until, like we've talked about, a forensic audit is done to determine whether or not it was really his voice. He has said he's not the one, it's not his voice, fine. But Speed Darlington, like Dr. Bate always says, ignorance of the law
absolutely
does not include you. And I think when it comes to this cybercrime issue, a lot of Nigerians need to know that. They cannot go and say that, oh, but I did not know that it was, and then he was saying that, why is this so weak, that people are always insulting him every day and he doesn't do anything. That's his own business. If Burna Boy says he's sensitive to a thing, he can go to court. And the fact that he's saying, I did not know it was a crime, will not remove him from answering questions. So, he should just be humble. I think he has apologized. Just, Speed Darlington, you've learned this one.
Please, refine. Speed Darlington, police did him dirty.
But police did him dirty. I mean, we don't support the harassment and everything. But does he know that is the case still on? Because he's still going to go to court and he might pay for damage for defamation.
And whose phone is he using actually?
All the things, maybe he went to buy one palace or somewhere. All the things he said. Unprovoked.
Yes.
And he said all of that to a fellow human being. No. And he's saying everybody take insults. Why is he complaining they did him dirty? If everybody did.
Anyway, Dr. Bate, 30 seconds before we take this one.
Is that ignorance is no excuse in law. And maybe, many Nigerians, particularly young persons of his generation, will learn from his example.
Yes.
That you cannot, I don't know, it's not a difference.
No, absolutely not.
And the other thing also is that the police may be keeping his phone. We want to believe that because they are still investigating.
Absolutely.
And this is something that was done, via the phone. And number 3 is the point that he cannot determine for Burna Boy how he feels. He was saying people used to call him gay, and he didn't take offense. At the time of PDD, you go and openly call somebody or label somebody. Is he aware that there is a same-sex Prohibition Act of 2014 in Nigeria where you are not supposed to engage in same-sex relationship? So that's where Burna Boy is coming from. You can't label him, and give him a label that it does not belong to him.
Absolutely. Well said, guys. Defamation is real. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. Well, before we end what's trending today, let's highlight a 14-year-old boy who made history as the youngest freshman ever at Coppin State University in the United States in our Good News Report. As the news of a 15-year-old boy, Chinemere Okpara, who sued the Federal Ministry of Education, the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, and the National Universities Commission over the government's policy, which seeks to limit admissions into Nigerian universities to applicants who attain the age of 18, a 14-year-old boy, Wes Mahmood, has made history in the United States as the youngest freshman at Coppin State University in Baltimore. Mahmood never imagined he would be studying cybersecurity engineering at Coppin on a full scholarship before he was even old enough to drive. The genius, however, has always been ahead of the curve. His mother taught him how to read by the time he was 3 years old, and he started first grade at the age of 4. Mahmood, when asked about his achievements, said that for him, it is not about making history, but about setting an example for other teenagers.
For me, it's not so much as making history that's important, but it's really just giving an example to the other young 13-year-olds out there, 14s, or even 15-year-olds that are aspiring to do these certain things. So maybe if they aren't trying to go to college, but they may want to start their own business, it's just great giving that example to them.
Amazing young talent. I mean, I really loved his response there to set an example for other teenagers at a time where in Nigeria, you know, the age limit has been put at 18.
A precocious young child,
yes,
who is obviously a genius. But I want to highlight something in this story, which is the role that parents and parenting plays in identifying genius earlier on in a child. If you recall, you had mentioned that his mom taught him how to read at 3.
Yes.
And it reminds me of the story of Ben Carson.
Yeah.
Ben Carson also alludes the success that he's enjoyed as a surgeon to the role his mother played. So kudos to moms out there.
Yeah, thank you.
So kudos to you. So just being able to identify your child's giftings and harness those giftings, and not in an enabling environment by the government of your country to ensure that your gifts thrive. And that's what we're asking for here in Nigeria.
30 seconds.
Speaking of mothers, I'll use a mother to 2 superstars, basketballer and 2 another top tennis star. You know,
and she's there.
But speaking about Ben Carson's story, he started on the wrong footing. He wasn't doing well academically until his mother said, "You can't watch television again," because that was a distraction. And the first time he started getting the results of all he used to read in library when they were told to spell agriculture in class. And that speaks volumes. Jam, hope you are watching. I'm excited that you have pushed it till the next academic season. But please, young people like this is how we're going to allow them with. Jam, you're on this beat.
So congratulations to the young prodigy. And to the mom, as you have pointed out. You remember also the Mafidons in the UK, you know, graduating from university even before the age of 18. What Nigeria should learn is that there are exceptions to every rule.
Fantastic.
What JAMB has now done is to say, well, till August 2025, persons who are 16 should be allowed to gain admission.
Fantastic.
But then the debate should continue.
Fantastic.
And also, you know, we hope that government will listen to the people.
Right, absolutely. The debate should continue. I'd like to thank you all for your great analysis, as always, on What's Trending. I hope you have a great weekend.
Thank you for having stayed to the end of this video. You made me really happy. One more thing, click on the notification bell so anytime I drop a video, you will be the first to be notified. See you on the next one.